What's up, guys? Roberto here with IST. This is another IST health tip of the day. Today's topic is losing fat, gaining muscle. If you go back in my past podcast, I've talked about this a little bit in reference to cycling. Cycling meaning eating more, eating less, exercising more, exercising less. And I can even subdivide those by saying how much carbs, how much fat, how much protein in terms of exercise. The types of exercises, is it more cardio? Is it more weightlifting? Is it more sets? Is it more reps? Is it more rest intervals? Is it more conditioning? So there's a lot of different ways to cycle what you're doing to accomplish your goals of losing body fat and gaining muscle. Now, each person is going to be a little bit different in how you respond to that because all of us have our own metabolic type and biochemical type. I'll use myself as an example. I respond best to weightlifting and interval training, but more so weightlifting. Some people respond better to cardiovascular training. But I need to share this study with you. Dr. Donald Lehman, this man is a very well respected person in the field of nutrition. He has done a lot of studies with protein. He's a specialist when it comes to protein. His belief, and I tend to agree with him and I share his thoughts, that the average American does not consume enough good quality protein. So he divided these people into three different variables, and I think he had about 10 women, maybe 15 women, in which he did a 16-week study, and he had three different variable categories in how he trained them and relative to their metabolic type and the type of food that they were taking in. Now, these women were not gym rats. They were not people who really liked working out that much. I guess I don't know how he talked him into doing it, but he did. So for about a 10-week to 16-week study, he had these ladies do strength training and some aerobic training, but mainly strength training, and some did not, which I'll go into in a second here, along with the amount of calories, the amount of protein that they were taking in, and carbohydrates. Variable number one was this: high carb, low calories. And what he found was that the average woman lost 50% fat and 50% muscle. In other words, let's say the person lost 8 pounds. Half of that would be fat, half of that would be muscle. You might say, well, you might take that, but there's better than that even. The second variable was this. And by the way, in the first variable, there was no exercise involved in that at all. It's mainly dietary. The second variable was this: a low carb, a low calorie, high amount of protein. Still no exercise. 2/3 fat loss, 1/3 muscle loss. Think about that. So the person lost 10 pounds. Roughly 6 pounds was fat, and the other 4 pounds muscle. Okay? So that's a little better than the first one. Now the third one, the third variable. This involved heavy strength training and some aerobic training. High amount of protein, low amount of carbohydrates, low amount of calories. In fact, all three variables had low calories. And once again, strength training and aerobic training. And what they found was a 95% fat loss and only 5% muscle loss. So what does that tell you? Ladies and gentlemen, you need to increase your protein intake. Now, one of the things that protein does, protein has a satiety value, meaning that when you consume more protein, it will actually kill food cravings. Because oftentimes when you're consuming carbohydrates, it elevates food cravings. It's a trigger food. Protein is more of a buffer food. It can kill your food cravings, or at least baseline it out, level it out, where you're not really thinking about food and cravings. So having said this, as I said in my last podcast on growth hormones, you've got to do some strength training. That's important because all those other factors kick in. Growth hormone, testosterone, Estrogen for you ladies. Okay, it's important. The right amount of sleep. Once again, that's when growth hormone is made and developed. And throw in some intermittent fasting too. Now, all this stuff might seem a little bit overwhelming to you, but that's where a person like me comes in. My job is to sit down with you and we figure out a plan. If you notice, I did not give you the amount of grams of protein, carbohydrates, and calories because that's going to vary from person to person. So you might have listened to this podcast today and think, well, I'm just going to go cut my carbs down and bulk up on protein. Well, that might do it, but it might not. You might be consuming too much protein because if you're consuming too much protein, I'll throw another caveat at you. If you're consuming too much protein, protein can convert to carbohydrates via gluconeogenesis. Now, there's ways to counteract that. But once again, that's where hiring a good professional trainer practitioner who knows what they're doing can help you. And you're looking at one. And I can help you design a program. It's not going to be some cookie cutter program that you read about in National Enquirer or somewhere on the internet, somewhere on Facebook or some other crazy social media site. It's going to be a program that is suited individually for you, for your body type, for your metabolic type, and for your motivational type, which is probably the most important, really, because most people aren't that motivated to exercise. Just being honest with you. So, guys, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to sit down with you. I'll give you a 30-minute free session to see if it's a good fit for you and for me. And we can go from there with some assessments, some evaluations, and some questions. Take a deep dive into your lifestyle and figure out what you need for you. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. This has been another IST health tip of the day.